Welcome back. Why overthinking weight loss holds you back. Now, this is a little mini series on common challenges that people get stuck on when they're trying to change their health, eat healthier, get more active, lose weight, all that stuff. If you're overthinking it, you're going to get stuck. And this is related to the video I just recorded. This person noticed that some people burn out with decision making and staying on track during weight loss. They said the mental load of burning out on tracking optimization, restarting seems to be the main issue instead of the workouts or food itself, especially before people find their own routines. And as a guilt free health coach with plenty of years of experience helping people with this, I don't think it's something that we have to normalize. Burning out on changing your health plans isn't like a standard part of the health journey. It is common. A lot of people do get stuck with it, but you don't have to do it in order to lose weight. You don't have to overthink your plan or get stuck or frustrated or wonder if something's wrong with you in order to get results. You can just have a sustainable and realistic plan at the beginning that you can like ease yourself into that makes your life easier. Another thing to think of here, burnout isn't random. It's not just something that happens. It usually comes from pushing too hard, doing something that doesn't really suit you or that you don't want or you don't think is relevant to you, anything like that. So if you're overthinking your weight loss plan consistently, that is likely to be stressful, likely to lead to burnout. And that would be a predictable outcome of the approach. It's preventable, predictable outcome. So don't just be like, surprise, I'm burnt out. It's more like you felt yourself pushing yourself through stuff and that you don't have to go through. So just a couple things to keep in mind there. Common factors that contribute to overthinking your weight loss plan and why you might be getting stuck is you don't have the background or understanding in order to create an effective plan for yourself. So it's not well considered. You don't have context or education. You don't study nutrition and exercise and all that stuff. You're like, new to an area and then you're trying something the hard way just based on what you have heard briefly online and all that stuff, right? And then that can cause your expectations not to match your life. And when you have a mixed match or mismatch, and it's all mixed up, you don't have clear expectations or relevant ones, realistic ones for your life, then you're going to experience stress from that. The difference between what you expect and what you're actually able to do and follow through on. So this is the common challenge. Look out for these things. If you're doing these, let me help you. Look me up on Instagram, leave a comment below. I'll be glad to help. Right. Because what happens then, if you have a plan that's not really suitable, then you're not sure what you're doing or if it'll work. And then you start to overcompensate. It doesn't feel natural. It feels like a struggle. What happens? You're trying to force yourself into managing your uncertainty. You're trying to track everything. You're trying to like force control over a situation that you don't really have a grasp of. And that's like trying to hold on to sand or something. Like it's just like everything is more difficult when you don't have a steady foundation here. So you're constantly optimizing, you're restarting whenever doubt shows up, you're having some sense of like perfectionism, you start to question yourself, self-doubt, and then that's what's exhausting. That's what contributes to overthinking and burnout and feeling challenged and then having a hard time with it, like all of that because you're like grasping without a firm grasp, right? And that makes things really difficult. So I know this because I'm a guilt free health coach. I've helped people do this. My name is Reggie. If it's your first time here, I help business owners lose weight and feel their best without crash diets or guilt. So I've seen people struggle with this when they're trying crash diets and then they feel bad about themselves. And that's not feeling your best. And it's also not effective. It's going to make you quit. Then you're going to feel bad about yourself even more. Right. So just skip all that. I've got a scorecard link below, the 3-minute live aligned scorecard so you can figure out what's blocking your weight loss goals and get clear next steps in order to follow through. So you don't have to overthink it and you don't have to fail another all or nothing approach. Now, there's 3 things that you need when it comes to your plan. If you're overthinking it, let's simplify it so it's a little bit easier for you here. The biggest thing that you need, or the 3 things you need: reasonable expectations, and a plan that fits your actual context. You have to have something to focus on. That way you understand what you're doing in the context of your life. If not, then you could be guessing, getting stuck, trying to figure it out. All right. So reasonable expectations and a plan that fits the actual context for your life. That's like the middle part. This is the three elements of the live aligned method. I talked about it a couple times, but this is how it goes. And then the vision is understanding the context, the big picture of what does a healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams look like. Now, if you have a big picture of what you're intending to do, then you have more clarity to guide your process. You don't have to overthink it because it becomes more of a natural part of your life. This is what you do when you have this identity, when you have clear mission, vision, and values. You understand what the process is and why it's important to you. Then you can also choose the things to focus on with reasonable expectations. Then, once you have those two parts lined up, the vision and the focus, you have a plan that's based on your needs. You don't have to constantly reevaluate it and actively decide. It's not something that you have to wake up and be like, what am I going to do today? Because you already have a plan for what you're going to do and then why it's important to you. So, this is a big part. The third part of the live aligned method is having a practice. You can just practice and decide what worked, what didn't, identify what you can do better, and then develop your skills so you get the results that you want. So the vision, focus, and practice are the three elements of it. Now, more on this practice part, it's kind of like deciding to play a sport versus deciding what to practice to improve your game. If you go out and you suck at basketball, right, then the next thing you might be like, am I even going to try to play basketball again? But if you've already decided what you're going to do and you find out why it's important to you to play basketball and decide that's what you want to do, then you'd be like, all right, what do I need to do to practice to get better at basketball? Right? It's a different level of decision making and a different level of commitment. And that keeps you from getting stuck and overthinking it. Another example that could work for people is like dating and relationships. If you were always trying to decide, like, is this person right for me? Is this person good enough? Am I good enough? Are we a good match? Is it a good fit? You have all those fundamental compatibility questions every day. That makes it harder versus like, I want to be the best person, the best partner that I can be, right? Then your focus is different. How can I contribute to this and make this the partnership that I want to participate in, right? It's a different like level of thinking. So if you were overthinking your weight loss, you need to have a situation, the alignment, the understanding, the context, the vision, the focus in order to stay in practice with that so you can live it in a fulfilling way. Right. That's how you create and follow a plan that keeps you from burning out versus so you're like focusing on the right things instead of the stress and the daily minutia details that may not even be relevant to the vision or focus that you have. All right. So that is something to look out for. Some things to consider when it comes to overthinking your weight loss. Don't overthink, just think effectively, correctly, and on the right track, aligned with the life that you want to lead. Leave me a comment if you have questions about this. I know that was like kind of a complex topic, but I'll be glad to help explain or clarify anything I can. Don't forget to take that Live Aligned scorecard as linked below. And then next, you can watch that video I was just talking about why thinking about fitness all the time is burning you out. I'll put that right here. So that's today's message. As always, keep practicing. Peace.